Freedom is being able to create whatever you want.
So the recording process varies. I have a few different, I guess, quote unquote, recording processes or writing and recording processes. Sometimes I write in my phone, sometimes I write in a notebook, sometimes I don't write at all. I just write in my head, I guess, and just go in and record on the spot. For this particular album, for Freedom Is, I wrote the entire thing in a notebook. I don't know what it was about the music that kind of inspired me to do that, but I think I really wanted to be purposeful and make sure I said exactly what I wanted to say. That's usually what happens when I write down versus coming up with stuff in my head, which is more like free flow and quote unquote freestyle, but not really. So yeah, like in the past, like around that time I had been doing Victim of a Modern Age, and a lot of that I wrote in my head. I didn't write down. And the same for a lot of the new TBO stuff, like stuff on the Great Year. A lot of my verses for those projects I didn't write down. But for this one, for some reason, I really wanted to write it down. And even though it didn't take a very long time, it was still only a two-week process. Like, I was very intentional with what I wanted to say. I hope people can get that from the album. Like I said, just very purposeful and making sure I got certain things expressed and certain things across by writing it down.
My production process is pretty much straight up hip-hop style, in the sense that what I do first is just look for samples, you know, whether it's coming from records or MP3 CDs, whatever it is. I look for samples and I look for ideas that stimulate me enough to go into it and make a beat out of it. So I look for samples, then the next step will be, you know, just putting the sample in, cutting it up and making a beat out of it, really. But then the track can become something completely different. It might not be what it started out with. The sample might be removed completely, might end up being replayed. I might involve some musicians in it.
Welcome to TVO TV, and this is Patrick Shepard. I'm here asking people what freedom is. What is freedom to you?
Freedom is the ability to be able to do what you want to do freely, whenever you want to, without any restrictions.
Awesome.
Yeah, man, so you know, TVO, kid. Man, TVO.
Freedom is the harmony of an artistic community.
On this particular project, I was really happy to involve my boy Artcha, you know, a true London MC from North London, who's super underrated. He's been around for a time, really hard-working rapper.
Name's Artcha, A-R-T-C-H-A, London, North London resident. Been doing music since 97, 98. I remember it's 97 actually, because it was when Wu-Tang's Triumph came out, and I actually bought the instrumental when you could get instrumentals on singles, and I remember writing my first bars to the Triumph instrumental. So that, yeah, it's definitely 97. But yeah, I mean, me and Kensaye just had a vibe. He loved what he was doing, I loved what I was doing. The working in the studio was very quick. And the thing I liked about Kensaye is he's very honest. So if something wasn't working, he wouldn't kind of just chill and be like, he'd actually say, you know what, that flow doesn't work, or maybe try this. And I respected that, because there's not a lot of producers that actually produce. There's a lot of beat makers, but there's not a lot of producers. And Kensaye is a producer. Like, he'll give you the concept, he'll tweak the music, he'll think about breaks. Like, you think about hip hop don't really work with breaks, but Kensaye's beats tend to have these breaks like you'd have in like a musical song. And that intrigued me because it just showed his musicality. When he gave me the call for this project, it was like easy. He like literally he said, I'm doing a project, do you want to be on it? Easy, yes, of course. And then he sent me the ideas, and yeah, I just loved it. The energy of the music, kind of the topic. Yeah, it was something that I could definitely contribute to. And yeah, I think literally he gave me the beat on maybe I don't know, Wednesday. I think I wrote by Friday, sent him a voice note of my verse. He got back to me that same night, said, yep, we're on. I think maybe 2-3 days later, I was in the studio and it was done. So that's just like an idea of our working relationship.
You also have Ryan. Ryan is a guitarist, which I've played with many times in festivals and shows. We played together with an artist called Ansah. He's actually Mensah's cousin. Mensah's an artist from Ghana and living in the UK.
I've been playing guitar since the age of, I guess, 9 or 10. Self-taught musician. My grandparents got me a little classical guitar when I was about 6 years old, which sat in a lonely cupboard for a few years, and I think it was probably seeing a Van Halen video on MTV at my next door neighbour's place made me want to pick up the guitar and just steamroll from there, really. Got into all the classic stuff, all the 60s classic rock, everything from Cream, Hendrix, then on to Zeppelins, and then from there, got into kind of harder stuff, hard rock. Obviously Guns N' Roses figured quite big in my musical education, and then on to kind of heavier stuff from there. But at the same time, I think just due to the household that I grew up in, my ear was always very much open to other types of music. As I went through my teenage years, really immersing myself in many different types of music, including hip hop, which had always been there in the background. The first LP I ever bought with my own pocket money was Raising Hell by Run DMC, and went from there. 90s hip hop, kind of East Coast 90s hip hop, really resonated very much with me, and I'm very lucky to have come up during that era. After playing in various bands over the years, I then moved into doing more session type stuff, both studio work and live work. Everything from being part of a production team who did sync music, to playing guitar live, which is my primary kind of music work. Playing live, touring, festivals, that whole thing with various artists, and then also in the studio. In terms of this project and working with Kensaye, me and Kensaye originally met through live playing with an artist called Ansah, West African hip hop artist from Ghana, and Kensaye in his other kind of guise as a percussionist, live percussionist, me of course playing guitar, and we sort of just connected from there. Shared love of hip hop, very much the same ideas about what we like in hip hop, and obviously then got to know Kensaye's work as a producer and as an artist himself. And over the course of I guess a couple of years, just coming into his studio, laying down guitar tracks on various beats. I mean, I come in and sometimes it'd be like, give me another beat. What else have you got? What else have you got? Let's lay something else down. Okay, let me lay down 50 ideas for this track, and then you can pick the 3 that you like. For the Extraordinary song, my guitar playing on there, or I guess the type of stuff I played on there, is quite different in terms of what I would usually do on a hip hop session. Usually you're playing some kind of like repeating rhythmic motif, maybe a few extra little licks here and there that he used. But this is cool because it's all pretty busy stuff I've got going on. For that session, I guess I must have just said, right, let the track play and let me just solo over it, and then take the best bits, which is why it was really cool to hear the final mix and hear how my work had been used. It's really dynamic, works works really well within the mix, but at the same time there's lots going on, there's lots popping off guitar-wise. So yeah, really pleased with how it turned out.
We also have Madam Pepper, who's a singer who's actually been part of the scene that I met through Artcha and stuff. Funnily enough, I've known her for a long time, but this is the first time I've actually recorded with her. So I'm glad she was involved in this project too. And last but not least, Andy, who I could say is heavily involved in that project because he contributes to quite a few tracks. He really added value to a lot of my beats by playing the keys. He's a fantastic keyboard player, very talented. He either replayed some of the bits that I played very badly because I'm not a keyboard player, or just even added his own twist, his own harmonies to the tracks. So I'm very grateful for his participation on the project.